Welcome to the church at Ocean Park, everybody. It should be, I know you think, I'm going to just turn this down. I know you think there should be a African-American woman here welcoming you. And unfortunately, Dr. Kim has a funeral to deal with of a very close friend. So I'm filling in for her as well as for Louise, who's still in Massachusetts. So you're going to have a lot of Larry Dilge singing and leading you in song today. So I thought I would start with the song "Oh What a Beautiful City," and we've been talking this morning already about thinking that you may be a different ethnicity in your blood than you actually turn out to be on 23andMe or whatever those things are. And you know, the city of human beings here on this planet and in this community it includes everyone, and wherever you're coming from, however you identify, you're welcome here in this place. There are indigenous here, there are Europeans here, and American in this place, Africans, Central Americans, Asians, and there are spirits here in this land. They're all here in this city. They're all here in this house. So we'll start with this. I think I put the words in the chat. I hope that worked. And let me just set this. Okay. Oh, what a beautiful city. Oh, what a beautiful city. God knows what a beautiful city. 12 gates to the city. Hallelujah. 3 gates in the east, 3 gates in the west, 3 gates in the north, 3 gates in the south. Said there, 12 gates to the city. Hallelujah. I said, oh, what a beautiful city. Oh, what a beautiful city. God knows what a beautiful city. 12 gates to the city. Hallelujah. City on a hilltop, I'm gonna make it mine. Gonna be a citizen of a world of love divine. 'Cause there's 12 gates to the city. Hallelujah. I said, oh, what a beautiful city. Oh, what a beautiful city. God knows what a beautiful city. 12 gates to the city. Hallelujah. No matter what tribe you're born to, there's a way in for you. Come from any quarter, you can be a citizen too, because there's 12 gates to the city. Hallelujah. I said, oh, what a beautiful city. Oh, what a beautiful city. God knows what a beautiful city. 12 gates to the city. Hallelujah.
Yes, welcome to the church in Ocean Park. So, well, I'm hearing a dog barking.
Sorry.
So we are here today. I am Afro-Caribbean. And if I look back, I know that my great-grandfather was Irish. So I don't know where I'm from. I'm part of every place. So we are interfaith, and we are welcome if you are Jewish, if you're Muslim, if you're Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, even atheist, or some combination, or something else altogether. You are welcome if you just came in from a hip-hop celebration, or if you aren't able to attend any protest marches, or, well, I was drafted into a march last week, but it was a protest against various problems and issues that a certain organization at the hospital had. So I was drafted into all those marches last week. Great experience. You are welcome if you miss Pride Month activities, if you are participating in some that are online. We extend a special invitation to those who are single, married, divorced, cisgender, transgender, gender fluid. If you're filthy rich or dirt poor, we have a home for you, here for you, an open door. We extend a special invitation to those who are just out of jail, looking for a welcoming community. We don't care if you're more religious than the Pope, more ceremonial than the new king, or never had your baptism. We extend a special invitation to those who are Gen Z, Millennial, Gen X, baby boomers, those who are even too aged to be classified. We invite those who are in recovery or still addicted. We invite you if you're having problems, if you are down in the dumps, or if you don't like organized religion and believe here is a strange church. We invite those who are inked or pierced or both. We offer a special invitation to those who are in grief, those who are mourning loved ones, those who can use a prayer right now, or even those who had religion shoved down their throats as children. We invite tourist seekers, doubters, bleeding hearts, and you. Welcome to the church in Ocean Park. We're going to pause for the land acknowledgement at this time. We, the people of the church in Ocean Park, recognize that our building in Santa Monica sits on stolen land. We, the settlers of this land, honor the Kish, the Tongva, and the Chumash peoples. We acknowledge the harms of genocide, enslavement, gender violence, destruction of sacred sites, and the burial of historic truths and indigenous suffering at the hands of US settler colonialism. We have also acknowledged that our communities and country were built on the backs of people stolen from Africa, placed into bondage, and forced into labor. We acknowledge that we benefit from that labor that has never been repaid. In acknowledgement, let us then commit ourselves to healing by helping to create a more just and equitable world through the struggle of changing how we do things that we see as normal and that support the systems that oppress people. We apologize for this harm by pledging ourselves to be part of the culture of repair.
Thank you, Chaplain Joseph. I'm Reverend Janet Gollery McKisson, and I'm the minister of this church. And some of us come today holding grief, some of us come holding joy, some of us come holding both. And this is a community that doesn't want you to hold anything, keep anything back at the door, and we can hold it all because we know that people are complicated. People aren't just one thing or another. And some people are holding the suffering of people in the Middle East, the struggles of people around the world, and some are holding more personal struggles with their families and or with themselves. And so we come as a community together, we bring all that, and then we try to be here now so that we can take what it is we have here as a community together and be together for this 1 hour. So we begin with a Thich Nhat Hanh chant. I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now, 3 times. Let's take a deep breath, all that we're holding, and let it out. I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now, welcome to the church in Ocean Park. And back to Larry.
Thanks. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing Emma's rabbit tale today. I know something about rabbits. We used to have lots of rabbits in the field in back of my house. And I even had a couple in a cage in my backyard when I was a kid. And I heard lots of rabbit stories, especially the famous Brer Rabbit stories. The version I knew was a white man's version of a black man's story that probably was influenced by an indigenous story that he had heard that somebody had heard. And it's about Rabbit the trickster and Rabbit the survivor. And the version of the rabbit song I'm going to sing, Mr. Rabbit, Mr. Rabbit, is a children's song, a question and answer children's song. And one of the ways this song works is that the singer does the first part, and then the kids have to come up with the rabbit's answer. But we got them recorded here, and you can hear his trickster quality and some of the ways he managed to survive, or he or she managed to survive in a hostile world. So. Mr. Rabbit, Mr. Rabbit, your ears are mighty long. Yes, don't you know they were put on wrong? Every little soul's gonna shine, shine. Every little soul's gonna shine along. Mr. Rabbit, Mr. Rabbit, you're looking mighty thin. Yes, don't you know I've been cutting through the wind. Everybody's soul is gonna shine, shine. Everybody's soul is gonna shine along. Mr. Rabbit, Mr. Rabbit, your coat is mighty gray. Yes, don't you know being out 4 days, every little soul's gotta shine, shine. Every little soul's gotta shine along. Mr. Rabbit, Mr. Rabbit, your tail's so tight. Yes, don't you know it was put on right? Every little soul is gonna shine, shine. Every little soul is gonna shine along. Mr. Rabbit, Mr. Rabbit, your nose it twitches. Yes, don't you know it always itches. Everybody's soul is gonna shine, shine. Everybody's soul is gonna shine along. Mr. Rabbit, Mr. Rabbit, what do you eat? Carrots and cabbages from my head to my feet. Everybody's soul is gonna shine, shine. Every little soul is gonna shine along. Mr. Rabbit, Mr. Rabbit, you're in my cabbage patch. Yes, don't you know I won't come back. Every little soul's gonna shine, shine. Every little soul's gonna shine along. Mr. Rabbit, Mr. Rabbit, your eyes are mighty red. Yes, don't you know I'm almost dead. Every little soul is gonna shine, shine. Every little soul is gonna shine along. Mr. Rabbit, Mr. Rabbit, your tail is mighty white. Yes, don't you know I'm getting out of sight. Every little soul's gonna shine and shine. Every little soul's gotta shine along. Every little soul's gonna shine, shine. Every little soul's gonna shine along.
Wow, that's a beautiful song, Larry. I love that song. We had rabbits too, and all of a sudden we had 2 rabbits, and all of a sudden we had like a very big amount of rabbits, a lot of rabbits. I have the opportunity to introduce our friend. She's back. I'm so glad she's back. Emma Snuggs is back with us. Emma joined the Mercy Housing California team in 2023, and she became the executive director of the Intertribal Coalition Against Violence this last August, since we last saw her. Emma is a citizen of the Cherokee Nation, Deer Clan of Oklahoma, and she is the mother to 3 sons, 20, 18, and 5-year-old. She has served and supported BIPOC communities in the nonprofit sector since 2008 and is an active Indigenous justice organizer. Her academic expertise is in American Indian Studies at UCLA, where she studied as an undergraduate and graduate with honors, department honors, and first department scholar, and as a UCLA Law Fellow. At UCLA, Emma focused on federal policy and Native nation building. Emma has more than 15 years of experience as a consultant and has built a diverse skill set that has strengthened and supported communities and individuals and tribal entities, lobbyists, business owners, and elected officials and staffers. Emma loves tacos, dancing, and belly laughs. Emma and her family attend powwows, community gatherings, and demonstrations, ceremony, conferences throughout the year. Most are open to the public, and she was telling us before that many are open for everybody to attend. Feel free to ask her about them if you're interested in going to one. Her 5-year-old son, Elijah, is a real Dennis the Menace with a love for pranking his mom. And for that reason, she is excited to work in the office again. Welcome, Emma Snuggs.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm actually super excited to be back with you all. I was so honored to join you last year and even more so this year. And as we mentioned before we got officially started, Janet and I have been able to follow one another. And so it's so nice to be connected in that way. You know, I know there's sometimes a lot of criticism around social media, and it's not all good. But in this case, and with staying connected from so far apart, it's been really wonderful. And so thank you for having me back. And you know, I know sometimes people feel awkward about adding, but if any of you would like to add me and stay friends and stay connected, I'm always open to that. And so something that I didn't include in my bio, my introduction, is that, you know, while many folks might make the assumption that the Native community doesn't interact with churches, or, you know, there is a history there. There is a violent history there in some ways. I will say that during my time at UCLA, you know, we struggled quite a bit with you know, food security, and not just me, but actually many students on campus. We struggled with homelessness, or being on the verge of being homeless, and many of us that lived in family student housing, you know, we received notices quite often, and we'd see them on each other's doors. And we were really fortunate to have a relationship with the Wesley Foundation, and they actually provided food to us often. There were donations made, and they would provide those things to us. And it's you know, that positive interaction and the positive interaction we've had here, and honestly, you know, in just the introduction and the way that you begin your service, that makes me feel so comfortable and so good about moving forward. And of course, sharing the story of Rabbit. You know, intentions are everything, right? And in our community, we call out good medicine and recognize that. So I'm incredibly grateful to be here with you today, and you know, and to just share goodness with you all. So thank you. So the story of Rabbit. This story is a Cherokee story. And I would say that it's probably never been told the same twice. And that's just sort of the way it is. And I'm sure after today, you might want to retell it, and you're welcome to do that. And I'm guessing you probably won't remember every detail, and that's okay, because that's how stories continue to live and grow and be, breathing things and a part of who we are, as opposed to something just stale and stagnant, right? So I feel free to breathe life into this story, and share it after today. So the story of Rabbit, it goes like this. Rabbit wasn't much for the formal. Rabbit wasn't much for the structure that required the other animals on council to come together and make big and important decisions. And the council consisted of hawk, deer, bear, and otter. And many of the other animals would attend a council as well, and sit back and listen to the decision making take place, the important decisions that would affect all of them, all of the animals, the two-legged, the four-legged, the winged, and the tiniest creatures. But Rabbit didn't feel that he needed to be there, and so per usual, the council decided to come together. And, they did let Rabbit know, Rabbit, we don't want any of your pesky behavior interfering with our very important meeting. We have very important things to discuss and very important things to do. And so, please stay out of our way, Rabbit. And Hawk, of course, led these meetings because, who doesn't love Hawk? And Hawk's very popular amongst all creatures here, two-legged and four-legged as well. So they go on with their meeting, and as soon as they begin, they hear, and now what could that be? What could that possibly be? And of course, the animals knew right away, that's Rabbit. That's Rabbit. He knew we were having our important meeting today, and instead of leaving us be, he's singing and dancing and doing his Rabbit thing. And of course, Rabbit just carried on, because that's what Rabbit does. And they stop, the animals say, stop, stop, stop. Hawk in particular says, we've got to nip this in the bud, so let's go have a talk with Rabbit. They stop their meeting and they all go find Rabbit. They say, Rabbit, what are you doing? And Rabbit says, I'm just enjoying my singing and my dancing. Go on with your meeting. And they say, Rabbit, we told you not to interfere with us. We told you not to interrupt our meeting. Hawk says, Rabbit, I'm taking your ears. I will take these ears and give them back another time. But for now, I'm going to take these ears from you so I can carry on with leading our meeting. Rabbit just looks at Hawk, and Hawk snatches the ears right off of his head. And the council turns around and they walk back to their meeting area and they continue on with their meeting. Soon as they get started, they hear it again. And who could it be? It's Rabbit. Rabbit again. Rabbit with the singing and dancing again. And so this time, Deer stands up. Deer says, it's me this time. I've got to deal with Rabbit. Rabbit will listen to me. And we can't continue to be bothered by this pesky noise. Rabbit always singing and dancing when we have our important meetings. And so they as a council went to go find Rabbit once more. And when they got there, they said, Rabbit, we told you not to interfere with us. And so Deer says, give me your feet, Rabbit. Give me your feet. This will stop you from dancing. Give me your feet, Rabbit. He takes his feet from him and they march back to the meeting area. And as you can imagine, as if on cue, here goes Rabbit. Again, interrupting the meeting. And the council is furious. So this time they send Bear. Bear, if anyone can get that pesky Rabbit to be quiet so we can meet, it's you. Bear's ferocious. That bear medicine is strong. Rabbit won't have a choice but to listen to Bear. And so Bear looks at Rabbit and he says, Rabbit, give me your mouth. You can't sing without a mouth, Rabbit. Give it to me. And so he snatches the mouth from Rabbit. And of course, Rabbit just looks at Bear, and the animals have figured this is it. This is all there will be. We won't hear any more from Rabbit today, or maybe ever. And so they march back to the meeting area. And what would you know? Once again, it's Rabbit. So this time they think, well, Bear, we thought you'd had it. We thought for sure. And so this time they asked Otter, Otter, you have such finesse. Otter, we're going to have you try one last time. Otter, very sly, very slick, moves back to where Rabbit is and says, all right, that's it, Rabbit. Give me your paws. Give me your paws, Rabbit. Paws handed over quickly. He knows the deal at this point. Rabbit knows what the situation is. And all the meetings go back. All the animals go back to the meeting. But they hear this beating. They still hear singing. They still hear dancing. How could this be? We've taken his ears. We've taken his mouth. We've taken his feet. And lastly, we took his paws. They all stop. Hawk says, I think we may have made a grave mistake. I think we should all go speak to Rabbit. And so they go to where they know Rabbit must be, because at this point he has no arms, he has no legs, he has no mouth, he has no ears. And there's little Rabbit. And although he has no ears and he has no feet and he has no mouth and he has no paws, his song can be heard by all the animals of the council. And they stop and they say to themselves, we've made such a terrible mistake, Rabbit. Will you ever forgive us? We've made such a terrible mistake in trying to stop you from singing your songs and dancing your dances. And so they all gave Rabbit back his ears and his paws and his feet, and says, I just wanted to sing and I just wanted to dance. And I dance and I sing from deep inside myself. And it didn't matter if I had my ears or my paws or my mouth or my little rabbit feet, because my song had to be heard. And the animals decided at that point that rather than keep Rabbit away from the meetings and look at Rabbit as an interruption, that they should always make room for Rabbit in the way that they meet and in the way that they gather. That Rabbit's songs and Rabbit's dances were very much an important part of the decision-making process. And from that day forward, they always made sure that Rabbit was included in their very important meetings and their very important decisions. And that is the story of Rabbit.
That's beautiful. So beautiful, Emma. Thank you so much. We have one more song from Larry, and then we will go into community sharing.
Song I'm sure Chuck will appreciate because it's by Utah Phillips. Chuck definitely appreciates it. And Utah Phillips is a great American storyteller and singer, a wanderer by trade and a musician by art. And there's a song about telling stories. And they're just the very telling of stories, independent of the story itself, brings back some of our deepest feelings about the past, about our love for places and our love for the people who told us the stories, the myths. It's more than nostalgia. Telling stories and singing songs keeps faith with the people and the land we knew when life was fresh. Let me sing to you all the old songs that I know. Wild, windy places, locked up in timeless snow. In wide crimson deserts, where the muddy rivers flow. It's sad, but the telling takes me home. Come along with me to some places that I've been, where people all look back and still remember when, and the quicksilver legends like sunlight turn and bend. It's sad, but the telling takes me home. We'll walk along some wagon road or down the iron rails, past lines of rusty Cadillacs that mark the Boomtown Trail, where dreamers never win and doers never fail. It's sad, but the telling takes me home. I could tell you some lies that were just made up for fun, and the loudest, meanest bragging could beat the fastest gun. And I'll show you nameless graves that tell the way the West was won. It's sad, but the telling takes me home. I'll sing of my amigos who come from down below and whisper in their loving tongue the songs of Mexico. They work their stolen Eden, lost so long ago. It's sad, but the telling takes me home. And I'll sing about an emptiness the East has never known, where coyotes don't pay taxes and a man can be alone. And you'd have to walk forever just to find a telephone. It's sad, but the telling takes me home. So let me sing to you all the old songs I know of wild, windy places locked in timeless snow, and wide crimson deserts where the muddy rivers flow. It's sad, but the telling takes me home. It's sad, but the telling takes me home.
Beautiful, Larry. Beautiful. Yeah, we love Utah, Phillips. Thank you so much, Emma. That was I was very engrossed with that rabbit story and so meaningful. I really, really appreciate it. And now we have it's time for community sharing. So if you have a comment to make, or if you'd like to ask a question for Emma, raise your hand the Zoom way, or you can go like this and somebody will see you and we can call on you. Is there anybody who'd like to share this morning? Oh, I see Craig Ali.
Yes, I'm intrigued, by the story, and I have a question, because if I hear correctly, the meeting of the animals had an importance, and everyone in the group recognized the importance of the meeting. And at the same time, the rabbit, although he recognized the importance of the meeting, seemed to be a distraction. And so the energy was put in terms of dismembering him. And the question comes back, when they realized that what he was saying was important, did he realize, the lesson, rabbit, did he realize the lesson that they had all realized in terms of conducting that sense? I'm curious in terms of the responsibility of all that were present and what they enjoyed as part of being the group. If there's an answer to that, I really, because I've dealt with something similar, within that. So I'm curious.
Thanks. Emma, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, that's what makes, I think, similar to parables, right? That's what makes like native stories special, is because we've all been rabbit and we've all been one of those other animals on council. And I think it's, what do you, what do you think, right? Like, what do you think? I think for me, and for me now today, because I've heard the story at different points of my life, today I think about, and in my work that I do now, I think about the importance of including smaller voices that are just as powerful and just as important, and in particular, right, in community work, and in advocacy work, making sure that we include the smallest child and the most elder, right? People who may be sort of left out or unheard in like broader conversations about the things that we as a community need. So that's when I think about it now. I think about a tribal council, right, of professionals in suits making very important decisions, maybe related to gaming, and how incredibly important it is that culture is incorporated into those important decision-making processes. So I would say I can tell you what it means to me, Craig. I can't tell you what it means to you. And I think that's what makes it so special.
Wonderful. It makes, means different things at different times to even the same person. Okay, Craig, Daria or Kevin, who has their hand up?
I think that's a beautiful story. And I think along with the message of inclusivity and how important it is to have radical inclusivity, I think what also struck me in that story was the ways in which they silenced Rabbit, and how that's analogous to the ways in which our society silences other people. You know, when we throw people in jail, when we criminalize the houseless, when we torture other human beings along with animals. But I guess in this case, it's human beings, even though the story is animalistic. And I think it's really important to just think about what we are doing and what effect that has on other people, all for the end result of, well, we don't like what you said, and rather than why is the rabbit dancing and singing in the way rabbit is dancing and singing, or a culture or a people, we just say, we're gonna like chop your ears off, we're gonna chop your legs off, we're gonna remove your hands, we're gonna take your mouth out. I mean, anyway, so that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, thank you so much. Chuck.
Chuck, my story is personal about rabbits, and I grew up with a couple of rabbits. The way it happened, it was Easter, and I was probably 5, and we're having dinner at the table with family, and my dad asked me to go get something, and I went in the living room, and there were 2 white rabbits and a bunch of dyed Easter eggs. So of course I run back to the table and, Dad, Mom, the Easter bunny's here and he's laid some eggs. And that was how we got our 2 rabbit pets. And my dad promised me more babies because rabbits, as you know, they like to make babies. But it turned out that Tommy and Betty weren't interested in that with each other. They were, they had a different sexual orientation, no doubt. But anyway, we kept them for a long time, but never had any babies. But the other thing is a story from Woody Guthrie. I first heard about a wild rabbit that was running from the hunters and the dogs. And a couple of male and female rabbits ran into a hollow log. And the dogs got right there into the log, yelling, barking. The hunters were there waiting to shoot them when they came out. And the female says, "What are we going to do?" And the male says, "Don't worry, we'll just stay here until we outnumber them." Does anybody get that? rabbits like to make babies, you know. Anyway, I like that story. It's a good socialist, vibe there. Anyway, for us in Appalachia, rabbits were a food source, not just everybody. There were so many, and rabbits and squirrels were the main wild food source for the people back there. I don't know about the Native Americans, how they handled it, but I brought many a rabbit home for dinner, and which my mother was very happy to prepare, and they are delicious. But anyway, there's more than one way to skin a rabbit.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's my story. Thank you for listening.
Good ending of your story. All right, Jim, and then Bob.
Okay, I was expecting to go to Bob, but since I'm on, yeah, this is good. Actually, your rabbit story, I was engendering some more good stories here. That's great. I'm thinking about the American Indian Studies Center at UCLA because I had some connection there and some friends there. I went to UCLA. Probably most of mine were predated your connection there, but Tony Brown was a friend of mine who we did a lot of things together. Vi Salaby was a librarian there at the time, and I guess the question that's going to come out of this is the powwows you go to, because I remember going to powwows at UCLA at the UCLA Rec Center. That used to be a place where they'd have some pretty big ones, and I think I went to some other places too, but those are the ones I remember the most, really. And there's some others. I think there's the daughter. Well, I knew the whole Abrams family, Marv Abrams, and then his daughters, Robin and Cindy Abrams, and they were friends of our church too. Robin at the time was a teenager, but she got married early, and I don't know if she's still working at the American Indian Studies Center. She might not be anymore, emeritus. But anyway, yeah, UCLA was one of the places. I mean, I've got other connections too. I work with the Mono Lake Committee, so we work with the Connecticut tribe up in the Mono Basin, and different parts of the Pai tribes along the Owens Valley in that area, and we're supporting them in their fight for federal recognition, and they're also just in general the land back movement and decolonization. So anyway, that's talking, and yeah, it's been a while since I've been to a powwow, but I'm kind of interested in ones you go to.
Yeah, I would suggest, and I do this personally, I follow Indian Country Today events. And I can send a link. I'll send a link to Indian Country Today events, but like I know that there was like an LGBTQ powwow happening in the LA area this weekend. I mean, there's lots of stuff happening, and I think there was an event at the Getty, but it sold out like really quickly. Tickets for the event, I say sold out, but they were free. So I would love to share this. The Indian Country Today is like a publication, online publications that a lot of us natives use, but it has a really awesome up-to-date events page. So I'll definitely share that with you all, because like I said, those things are usually community events open to everyone, and like, just a really good space, I think, to connect. And UCLA's American Indian Center, and just both UCLA and Riverside and San Diego State have just really wonderful Native communities on campus that, if you can connect with them, I'm sure they would love to have your support, to have just your presence. So at various events. So thank you. I'm glad that the story's resonating with folks and differently. I love to see how it grows, where it goes and how it grows.
Thank you. Yeah, there's many of us are connected with 580 and with Judy Smith.
Oh yeah,
We love that place.
same.
Bob Gordon.
Okay. Thank you, Emma, for this wonderful story. And I like the fact that you just told it. And then you didn't follow that with a little lecture on, oh, here's what it means, you know. You left it to us to interpret, and you know, it has lots of meanings. But part of what stands out in my mind is I think of Rabbit. There's something important about his spirit, and something valuable. He's sort of a trickster character. He's irreverent. He's very playful. He's not a big rule follower. And at least part of what I'm getting is that even though we need the hawks and the bears and all those serious folks, the group can't go on without those serious, conscientious people. And yet we also, you know, even in our decision making, those elements of playfulness and thinking outside the box and all those things are also important in that, so that, you know, that spirit needs to be included within our decision making. That's at least part of the way I see this, the meaning of the story to me.
I love that. I love that interpretation, and I am excited to hear back when we check in the future at how you retold. I love hearing it too. I can't wait to hear how you retell it or even share it. I love it, because one thing that does happen to me accidentally every single time is that the story actually the animals within the story actually change depending on where I am, because sometimes not all animals make sense to be right. So that's something, you know, if I'm in Santa Barbara, I might you know, there might be dolphins, you know what I mean? So you know, I just love that about the story. And I did want to share something with you all that I probably should have shared earlier, but it's sort of a happy follow-up to last year's conversation. So just so we know, the Indigenous Peoples Day Act was actually reintroduced to Congress on October 2nd, 2023, and currently has 56 co-sponsors in the House of Representatives and 11 co-sponsors in the Senate. So that's a push to make Indigenous Peoples Day an official federal holiday. And as you all know, it was recognized by the Biden administration last year, but by proclamation, right? And so there's still kind of like the push and pull between those of us who want to see it recognized as Indigenous Peoples Day versus Columbus Day. But to date, 29 states have renamed or replaced Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day. So I wanted to share that with you all before you get tired of hearing me yak. So there's that. So we've had progress.
Thank you. I noticed on my calendar where I have it pops up on Google, both of them. It said Columbus Day and Indigenous Peoples Day, both. So I have.
Yep.
I don't know. It's trying to transition, but not quite.
It is.
Okay, Jean.
Well, I just wanted to give my interpretation of the story, and that was what we as adults do to children. They're loud, they're obstreperous, they don't follow rules. We say, I'm going to take away your crayon. I'm going to take away that tambourine. You're making too much noise. Oh no, give me that knife. You know, I mean, there are some times when it's really important, right? But, and then we as adults, I think, we lose our capacity to have fun and to throw out rules every once in a while that don't matter. And sometimes we learn from our children. And so that's what I took from the story, was remembering when my kids were young. And every once in a while I was too serious, and I would, no, you need to do this, you need to do that. And then all of a sudden I realized, wait a minute, I'm missing the point here. I need to incorporate some of those characteristics. So that's just a different way to look at it.
As a mama of a small child, I appreciate you interpreting the story that way and sharing that. Thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, I too appreciate that. I have a 3-year-old grandchild, and she brings more life than anything, and she disrupts more life than anything. So I mean, it's the same thing. But I also appreciate so much the disruption, and it's not actually a disruption as much as a reminder of who we really are. And I think that's what the rabbit was for me, about just a reminder. And never and they always try to tear down people who are actually saying something at the core of who we are. And there's also the resilient part. You can't tear me down. That part of the rabbit story. There's a lot to that rabbit story. And I appreciate you bringing it to us. And I think I would be very interested in how everybody interprets it going forward, because it's going to happen again and again in people's lives. So I appreciate you being with us, and I hope that we see you often. Can you put in the chat, can you put a link to where we might find out more information about events?
My hand is up.
Great.
My hand is up.
Oh, did not see you. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, we'll have one last word from
I had put it up late after, while Bob was speaking, but it just occurred to me that as we were talking, it just occurred to me that the story about the rabbit here sort of highlights a lot of what I heard yesterday about Love Mando. His personality, his springtimedness, his feeling that life is full of possibility, his feeling that, sometimes we have to put aside the rules. And it sort of reminded me of what, as I listened to the people who were speaking about Love Mando yesterday, this sort of reminded me about his personality and his life. And I think it's interesting that it comes right after his service here. I think that's what I saw, very meaningful.
Mm-hmm. Right. Thank you so much, Chaplain Joseph. We appreciate you. We appreciate you, Emma. And we'll go on with a song from Larry Dilge.
I thought I'd sing a song about Oklahoma. Oklahoma, in terms of American history, is an interesting place. It was land that had been inhabited by indigenous people and by Mexican people, and then in the early days of our nation, in the 1820s, there was the whites on the East Coast decided to remove Indian tribes to the center of the United States, and they sent them to the Indian Territories in Oklahoma. This is the famous Trail of Tears period in our shameful history. And the Cherokee not only took the indigenous Cherokee, but they also took their black slaves and their black friends that they had made in the East, and the Indian Territories became a sort of a harbor for escaped slaves and for Native Americans, especially the 5 civilized tribes that were banished there or sent there to live. After the Civil War, there was, more escaped slaves and freed slaves went to Oklahoma, which was a kind of a friendly place for them. And then there was a land rush in 1889, and lots of white people came in. This coincided more or less with the discovery of oil and other minerals, and a struggle ensued as to who owned the land that had the oil. And this in some ways culminated in the Tulsa race riot in 1921, which was about who owns the rich property as much as anything else, as much as the racism of the white nationalists. Anyway, lots of people are there. It's a real mixture of American people. Woody Guthrie was born and grew up there and wrote a song called Oklahoma Hills. And Jimmy LaFave, in my generation, sort of a next generation of Woody Guthrie, wrote an introduction to it. So I thought I'd sing the song because I love Oklahoma, and so do the people who are involved in making the song. Come from the land of the civilized tribes down in Oklahoma. Cowboys howl, coyotes howl, the cowboys ride down in Oklahoma. Prettiest clouds that ever did blow, prettiest girls that ever did grow, makes my toes all itch to go. To Oklahoma, where the red man has found him a home, down in Oklahoma. Plenty of room to walk or to roam, down in Oklahoma. My Seminole girl has a loving cheek. I go for a day, I stay 3 weeks. Choctaw, Chickasaw, Cherokee, and Cree, down in Oklahoma. I work my land with a rake and hoe, down in Oklahoma. Don't mind the dust clouds or the tornadoes that blow, down in Oklahoma. Dark starry night, bright summer day, hoka hey, hoka hey, hoka hey. I guess that's all I learned to say. In Oklahoma, many a year has come and gone since I wandered from my home in those Oklahoma hills where I was born. Many a page of life has turned, many a lesson I have learned, yet I feel like in those hills I do belong. Way down yonder in the Indian Nation, ride my pony on the reservation in those Oklahoma hills where I was born. Way down yonder in the Indian Nation, a cowboy's life is my occupation in those Oklahoma hills where I was born. Let me turn back life a page to the land of the great Osage, the place where I rode my pony right down through the draw, where the oak and the blackjack trees sway in the haunting red dirt breeze, and I kissed the sweetest girls I ever saw. Way down yonder in the Indian Nation, I rode my pony down the reservation in the Oklahoma hills where I was born. Way down yonder in the Indian Nation, a cowboy's life is my occupation in those Oklahoma hills where I was born. In those Oklahoma hills.
Oh, we sang to Virginia, your mother, last week, but you were on Catalina and she didn't hear us. So I thought we should sing again today.
Oh, yeah,
All right.
that would be great.
Larry, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, I can't. Okay, now I hear you.
Yep.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday. Let's sing it together. Dear
Dear
Virginia.
Virginia. Happy birthday
To you.
Okay, I guess I got a final song. Say goodbye. Thought I'd at least have one Native American voice. This is a Buffy St. Marie song called Pineywood Hills. And Buffy St. Marie was born to an Indigenous mother in Canada, a member of the Piapot Cree tribe. She was orphaned and adopted by a family that was part Micmac and grew up in Maine and Massachusetts. So I'm not sure where her Pineywood Hills actually were, but they're somewhere in the world that we know. So here we go. I'm a rambler and a rover and a wanderer, it seems. I've traveled all over, chasing after my dreams. But a dream should come true, and a heart should be filled, and a life should be lived in the Pineywood Hills. I'll return to the woodland, I'll return to the snow, I'll return to the hill and the valley below. I'll return as a poor man or a king if God wills, but I'm on my way home to the Pineywood Hills. I was raised on a song there, I done right, I done wrong there, and it's true I belong there, and it's true it's my home. From ocean to ocean I've rambled and roamed, and soon I'll return to my Pineywood home. Maybe someday I'll find someone who will love as I love my Pineywood Hills. I was raised on a song there, I done right, I done wrong there, and it's true I belong there, and it's true it's my home. I'll return to the woodland, I'll return to the snow, I'll return to the hill and the valley below. I'll return as a poor man or a king if God wills, but I'm on my way home to the Pineywood Hills, to the Pineywood Hills, to the Pineywood Hills.
Beautiful, beautiful. What a beautiful morning. Thank you all for being here. This is a beautiful celebration of community and a wonderful time to be together. We end with our benediction, which is carry on. If you all unmute yourself. This is second to the last time we have to do it in virtual space. We will be hybrid, so you will have a chance to still be in virtual space if you wish, but you'll also be available to do it in person. So we say together, carry on. 1, 2, 3, carry on.
Carry on.
Carry on.